All right, Algebra 2, we're going into Unit 7, and we're going to be dealing with cubes. The first thing we're going to be doing is the sum and difference of two cubes. This is kind of difficult. So what's difficult about it is like making sure you can rearrange everything into the way it needs to be. But before we get into that, these are going to be your friends. These two equations right here. The sum of two cubes, the sum of two cubes, and the difference of two cubes. So this one right here, these two formulas. They look difficult, and they kind of are, but once we break it down, it'll be fine. I'm also going to put this on an anchor chart up on the board. Right now I put the square root one up there, but now I'll have a cubic one as well too. It's bizarre, so before I get into it, and before y'all panic, let's go ahead and talk about what a cube is. A cube basically is like, remember if I had, and don't write this down, but if I had 3 squared, that means you're going to do 3 times 3. Well, what if I had 4 squared? Isn't that the same thing as 4 times 4? Well, what if I had 4 to the 3rd power? This is saying now we want you to multiply 4 times together. That's what it's trying to say. So whenever it's saying 2 times 2 times 2, that's actually 2 to the 3rd. That's the same thing as saying 2 to the 3rd. I would write down that 2 to the 3rd. And it equals 8. Now, check out this little thing right here. You see that cube root right there? Y'all have been drawing, and don't write this down, y'all have been drawing this stuff. And let's say I had the square root of 16, and that would equal to 4. What you don't know is that technically hidden right here is a small little 2 that indicates it's the square root. But like all math and things, just like we don't like to write 1x, and we don't like to write x to the 1, when it comes to square roots, we don't like to write the 2. But it's implied there's a 2 there. So let's say you had a square root of, or not a square root, but you had a cubed root. If you have a cubed root, you have to find a way to write that 3 in there, very tucked in. You can see it right here. And that means you're looking for the cube root. So for instance, on the cube root of 125, that would equal to 5. And how do I know that? Because 5 times 5 for the S's, the S5s, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So that's the notation. So you have to have that down. So let's go ahead and check this out. 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 8. These are bunk notes. That is not accurate. Those notes, 3 times 3 times 3 is not equal to 8. It's equal to 27. So just go ahead and correct that right now. You'll get the cubed root of 27. The cubed root of 27 is 3. I never filled in the cubed root of 8. 2. And again, what is this saying? It's saying the cubed root of 8, meaning there's a number that if I multiply 3 times together will give me 8. What number is that? And that's 2. So right here, this is, again, if it comes out with no decimals, it's called a perfect cube. So this right here, 27, is actually a perfect cube. Why? Because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So 7 times 7 times 7, let me make sure that, I don't actually know that number. Hold on one second. It is, in fact, 343. So it's the one next to it. So 343, cube root of 343 is 7. So I'm going to fill these out. This is basically how it works. It may take a time for your brain to like sink in with this, but it's not that hard. You just have to accept it, that the cube root of that means it's looking for that number. So the cube root of 64 is 4. 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000, y'all. So the cube root of 1,000 is 10. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. That means the cube root of 125 is 5. So that's the main lecture on when it comes to, what's it called? Basically what cubes are. So look at the patterns. Sum means, do you see the sum? I want you to figure this out. Sum means, check it out, we're adding them together. The difference means we're subtracting them. So moving on down to this. Sum means adding. Like I'm going to put the adding there. And difference means subtracting. I'm not going to fill this stuff out. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all, it's up here. They want you to pay attention to this. If you see, I'm going to do it in red so you can see it. When it is the sum of two cubes, when it's the sum of two cubes, like right here, they want you to pay attention to this. Boom, boom, boom. When it's the sum, it goes plus, minus, plus. Now I'm going to do this in blue. When it's the difference, it's going to be minus, plus, plus. So that's kind of getting your skeleton set up. I'll show you how to do this. That's what they want, like on these part of the notes, that's what they're showing you. So when it is the difference of two cubes, the answer has signs of blank, blank, blank. it has minus, plus, plus. So I guess we can fill that out. Minus, plus, plus, minus, plus, plus. They're just telling you to take note of that so you can see the difference of it. And then that will take us to the first example, which I'm going to go ahead and put on a different video.